I thank you, pardon me. Thank you for joining us on our English program, Axmine Media Network. I'm your host, Alula Wune. Thank you for joining us during a period of time. Unfortunately, it is day 293 of genocide, ongoing crisis in Tigray. The failed state of Ethiopia has continued to devastate the people of Tigray by various means, which we've discussed on this program previously, through blocking of aid, through all war crimes that have been documented, we have discussed on this program, unfortunately, and it continues to be as such, which we'll detail today. Again, this is a holiday period, which the people of Tigray, young women of Tigray are supposed to be able to celebrate, called Ashenda. And unfortunately, we are not able to celebrate, to enjoy as we are supposed to, due to all of the factors I've mentioned previously and currently. And the people of Tigray are continuing to suffer through, as I stated, the blocking of aid. And if you are not a part of the Tigray community, again, I thank you for joining us, because this is informative and unbiased detailing of what's occurring on the grounds, what the people are suffering. And I encourage you, please, to share this, repost this. Please let people know of what's going on. The information we will be sharing here, again, is not off of opinion, off of biased agenda. This is truth in what's occurring. This is documented, credible sources showing the graveness of what's occurring on the ground. And today we will continue in our news and updates on what exactly is the current state. As I said, the failed state of Ethiopia is continuing to push and continuing to devastate the people of Tigray. Today, I have statistics showing all throughout the month, things we've documented previously. And the first here will be from UNCHR, a humanitarian organization, many Tagaru, unfortunately, during this 9 months of hell, of devastation, have become all too familiar with. And this document from July, there will be a new document that comes out in August, but we obviously once the month commences, we'll be able to look at that. This is just a few key statistics documented by an unbiased agency on what exactly the people of Tigray and the people who have become refugees during this time are suffering through, and how many do we have? So here you will see 46,000 total number of refugees registered. This is only what's been registered thus far. And this is through July 31st. The report was updated, and 942 of which were Qamant refugees, meaning this is not just Tegaru that are suffering at the hands of fascist Abiy Ahmed. There is plenty of people suffering, leaving their homes, devastated. More statistics from this shows just what exactly the people in these camps are suffering through. So there is plenty of issues because of underfunding, and also many factors that are attributed to shelters. Here you will see hepatitis E, over about 40 refugees, but that's only what's documented, have been tested positive for this disease already in the camps. And this is something that spreads, as you will see here, due to lack of cleanliness, sanitation, female hygiene, especially because of the nature of these camps. This is what the people are suffering through. So the reason I want to bring these statistics is for a few reasons. One, to illustrate exactly what our people in the camps are going through, but two, to show you we still have a lot of work as people, not just Tagadu, as people, to support these innocent civilians suffering in camps with underfunding, with uncleanly, bathrooms, and as a whole, just absolute devastation from leaving their homes with nothing on their backs, essentially. More statistics that we have here today comes from another organization, humanitarian organization, OSHA, OCHA, another humanitarian organization made to help innocent civilians, people who have nothing to do with war. And as of July 31st, it shows you 13 incidents impacting security of aid workers in July alone, 153 since November, 2 aid workers killed in July, and 14 since November. These are innocent civilians, native to Tigray, native to Ethiopia, native to the other countries as well, who have, out of their kindness of their heart, as a call to help people, have joined this fight to assist and aid the people, and have been killed, or these incidents that have been impacting the security of aid by the failed state of Ethiopia, continued deliberate devastation of the people. It continues on. It shows you more stats on the situation. This is a conflict, but a genocide that is affecting all parts of Ethiopia now. Look at the figures here on the sheet here. We have 2.1 million Tagaru that are internally displaced, meaning they have had to flee from their homes due to this devastation inflicted by the fascist regime of Abiy Ahmed, the illegitimate prime minister of Ethiopia, by Isaias Afwerki, warmonger, warlord of Eritrea, playing games of propaganda in Tigray. 2.1 million people are suffering now. They have been displaced from their homes. To give you context, civilians displaced from their home have nothing on them. You take what you can on your back, in your hands, and you run. That is only a portion of the people internally displaced in the failed state of Ethiopia. As a whole, is about 2.8 million people internally displaced in Ethiopia. 2.1 of the 2.8 are Tagaru, but we need to document and we need to speak up for the other about 700,000 people as well that are internally displaced due to this. This is man-made famine, man-made crisis on innocent civilians. Call it what it is. There is no law and order operation, which we've discussed previously. This is propaganda. This is constantly debated on the international stage. But it's clear, it's concise in the statistics. People are suffering. People need aid. People need help. While Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed continue to play this game of propaganda, the people are suffering. The numbers are in front of you. As I stated, during what is supposed to be a holiday period, while people are being purposely starved, this is the backdrop. This is the numbers and statistics that we have here. And I will show you next on our information presented by BBC, as of late reported on the humanitarian crisis in the region. What exactly are we talking about here? What are the people really suffering through? So here you will see BBC, Tigray crisis. US accuses Abiy's illegitimate government of blocking aid here. This is an article from 2 days ago, and it's something that's been mentioned constantly, time and time again. And this shows you that as Tagaru, we have to continue to speak as people who are not even Tagaru, who have sympathy and empathy for those who are suffering, starved, have nothing to do with war, nothing to do with genocide, besides their ethnicity, and are being targeted. We have to continue to speak and work. As you will see here, it states the US aid organization has accused the government of obstructing access to Tigray and warns that food aid is set to run out for the first time. Hundreds of thousands of people are at risk of famine amid the conflict. Ethiopia, again, has denied purposely blocking the aid, laughably. If you can laugh during a difficult time like this, Prime Minister, illegitimate fascist Abiy Ahmed spokeswoman told reporters that the government was allowing aid convoys to enter Tigray, but that security was a priority that cannot be compromised. Another vague statement by puppet Bilen Siyum. She states it is a volatile area, so there are going to be continuous checks and processes. Essentially, she is stating delays and purposeful starvation on the people of Tigray. Travesty. In her statement, U.S. Aid Chief Samantha Power described the flow of humanitarian assistance into the northern region as woefully insufficient, meaning there is not enough. She said food warehouses were virtually empty and that aid workers would soon have nothing to distribute. Imagine in 2021 modern day, we are on the doorstep, if not in the doorway of no humanitarian aid being able to be given to innocent civilians starving. This shortage, they continue, is not because food is unavailable, but because the Ethiopian illegitimate government, is obstructing humanitarian aid and personnel, including land convoys and air access, she said. U.S. aid called on Ethiopian illegitimate government to immediately allow humanitarian assistance. It noted that aid trucks have been unable to leave the town of Samara in the neighboring Afar region, currently the only accessible land route into Tigray, mind you. And the United Nations has separately told the BBC that more than 100 aid trucks are stuck on this route. About 100 trucks are needed in Tigray each day, yet just 320 have managed to reach the region since the end of June. To give you context, that time frame, end of June to now, that is 2 months of time. 320 trucks have made it into Tigray during that time. 100 trucks of aid are needed in Tigray each day. In 2 months, that is 60 days, if not more. 60 days times 100 is not 320. That is unbelievable. It's not even a fraction. Tiny percentage of what's needed for the people of Tigray to fend off starvation. This is devastation, a man-made famine occurring in 2021. And this is exactly why we need to speak, we need to share. If you have empathy for civilians, for people who have nothing to do with this war, nothing to do with this genocide aside from their ethnicity. We documented previously about what occurred all throughout Ethiopia in the last month. From soldiers with Tigray descent, meaning they are Tagaru, have been essentially sentenced for execution. If not, they have been arrested or harassed. Those who are not soldiers serving their country have been also arrested and harassed in the capital, Addis Ababa of Ethiopia. This is clear signs of ethnic cleansing, clear signs of targeting of Tagaru. But pro-genocide, genocide apologists will tell you all people are suffering. I ask you, in what democracy do all people suffer? At the hands of Abiy Ahmed, fascist leader of Ethiopia? Illegitimate? They suffer. This is not democracy. We've spoke on this continuously. He's starving the people of Tigray. He's creating havoc throughout the country now. I've posted here on our comments. You can check. There's Stand with Tigray link here. This link will give you information and take you directly to where you can speak up for the people of Tigray. Now, I will show you and present this on the screen as well, but I want you to share this information, copy and paste it, take a screenshot, however you have to, and share it with everyone so they can tweet and expose these genocidal puppets of the Abiy Ahmed regime. Expose the work, the deliberate actions they've done over this 9 months to kill the people of Tigray, to starve the people of Tigray, and now spread this war throughout the country. As you'll see here, this is the link, as I stated, standwithtigray.com. Here it will show you posted on August 20, 2021. 3 different sets of hashtag Tigray genocide accomplices tweets. These are tweets you can copy and put directly into Twitter. You can customize it, change the words so it looks as if you have created it yourself, so you do not get reported, and expose these genocidal, inhumane puppets of the Abiy Ahmed regime. Whether it be the Amhara regional state president you will see here, Agegnu Teshagar, or Daniel Bakala and his continuous efforts to not allow for independent investigation into all atrocities into Tigray. Whether it be someone I've mentioned previously earlier in this broadcast, the puppet Bilan Siyum, who works as a direct hand of the fascist Abiy Ahmed. Whether it be Burtukan Madaksa, chair of the election board of Ethiopia, all of which have a hand to play in this. And of course, the man, the subhuman himself, Abiy Ahmed, who has devastated the people of Tigray, he can be included in your tweets as well. Please share this information. This link that I've posted in the comments here, this link you see on the screen here, this website has a lot of information to share for what the people of Tigray are going through. And again, I ask you to continue to speak up for the people of Tigray, as this is, to say the least, what they are going through and can help them any way possible during a difficult time during day 293. I'll continue on. What is the state of Ethiopia? What is the state of Tigray again? What is occurring? Something that I mentioned in the beginning of this broadcast is this time period before the Ethiopian New Year, the Tigray New Year, is called Ashenda and is supposed to be a festival, celebration, a holiday for young women. And unfortunately, due to war crimes that have occurred over these more than 9 months now, 293 days, there's devastation in the region. There is no true celebration. And this article from BBC as well documents some of which, in collaboration with Amnesty International, shows you some of what the Tagaro women have suffered through. Here you will see the scale of violations, they say, during 9-month conflict in the north of the country amounts to war crimes, the human rights group says. One woman reported being gang raped in front of her children. Ethiopia's illegitimate government says the report is based on flawed methodology. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised by that statement, as is such what they've essentially stated during this difficult time. The foreign ministry accused Amnesty of waging sensationalized attacks and smear campaigns against Ethiopia because they believe, again, that aid and humanitarian organizations are the enemy of the failed state of Ethiopia. That is why it's clear. Amnesty replied essentially with, we have overwhelming evidence to show violence had been rampant since the start of the conflict. It began last November when it essentially gives you a rundown when TPLF allegedly stormed a military base. But essentially, they're giving you a background into what Abiy Ahmed's excuse for devastating the people of Tigray is. They continued, the rights group interviewed 63. This is a small percentage of what's actually been impacted in Tigray because of fear or because of lack of access. But in this article, 63 women and children from Tigray had been raped by Ethiopian troops, their Eritrean allies, or by pro-government fighters from the Amhara region, Fano. The author, Ms. Rovera, told the BBC that the testimonies had been the worst she has ever heard of. The worst. This is what she does. The level of sadistic and brutality, in addition to the rape, was absolutely shocking, she states. This is the background to a holiday for Tagaru women, for young women, for old. No one has been spared in 293 days. This is the work of fascist Abiy Ahmed. Rape, pillaging, extrajudicial killings. This is his work. The fruit of his labor, devastation on his citizens. A 39-year-old woman, they continue, reported being seized by Eritrean soldiers as she was traveling with her 2 children. 5 of them raped me, she said, in front of my children. 5. They used iron rod, which is used to clean the gun, to burn me. They inserted piece of metal in my womb and then left me on the street. Subhuman actions. This is documented. Amnesty International. This is internationally recognized organization. We have asked for independent investigation into all crimes that have been accused of any side. And this is exactly why. Crimes like this cannot be overlooked and simply labeled as the fascist illegitimate government of Ethiopia has stated as simply just exaggeration. Who exaggerates to this extent? These are civilians. Continues, some women Amnesty interviewed said they had been detained for weeks and repeatedly raped, often by several men. This is absolutely disgusting. Almost half of the women, they say, accused Eritrean soldiers of carrying out the violations, identified by their Tigrinya accents and uniforms. Of course, the warlord Isaias Afwerki's regime did not respond to Amnesty's request for comment. That is unsurprising. Amnesty, continues, is calling on the UN to send a team of experts to Tigray to further investigate the allegations that may amount to crimes against humanity. The widespread nature of the assaults, they continue, suggests military officials knew what was happening and that it was being targeted at the highest level of government in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Listen to what they say. The widespread nature suggests that high-ranking officials in both these illegitimate warmonger governments had part to play in these crimes. The patterns of sexual violence emerging from survivors' accounts indicate that the violations have been part of a strategy to terrorize, degrade, and humiliate both the victims and their ethnic group, the report said. This is clear. Work of ethnic cleansing, work of genocide. This is the utmost evidence. Women, children testifying, telling you this is what they are doing in 9 months. And the Ethiopian illegitimate fascist government has nothing to say again. Puppet Bilan Siyum has nothing to say. They need time to prepare more lies while they devastate, loot, and siege Tigray. Never, 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 never in modern day would you expect to see innocent civilians devastated like this. Not just starved, but disrespected to the level of absolute inhumane crimes committed against them, treated as subhuman, raping, extrajudicial killings, again, pillaging. This is the work of animals. Continues, Ms. Rovera said the victims of the assaults have not had access to the support they need to recover, and many are living in poverty in Sudan refugee camps or camps in Tigray. Again, what the information we showed was on the camps in Sudan. The camps in Sudan, underfunded. They're unsanitary. Women in these camps of all over the world, not just in Sudan, face many challenges, let alone victims of gruesome rape like this, who have left their homes, left their land. If they are still in Tigray, they're in camps that are even less funded, have less reporting. They are struggling on day in and day out. This is the background of what the people of Tigray, the women of Tigray are suffering through. Every mother of Tigray, every daughter of Tigray feels this pain. This is unbiased. This is not an argument of political entities. This is not a discussion on who you support and who you don't. This is about, do you have a simple line? Rape, starvation is not a part of my beliefs. Do you support the genocide of people? Do you support the rape of innocent children, of elderly women? War crimes that go far beyond rape, which we just documented. This is what the people of Tigray are suffering through. Not just this, something we discussed earlier. Aid itself. There are 100 trucks a day needed to feed the starving people in Tigray. 100. At most, 30 a day have gone to Tigray. 320 in the past 2 months have gone to Tigray. Something I documented earlier and showed you. The information, the evidence. 320. Starvation is here. The people are starving. The victims of rape, the victims of bombings, droning, looting are suffering. They need you to speak up for them. Whether you are Tagaru, whether you are not. Whether you are rich or you are poor. The people of Tigray need you to speak for them, to help them. All of this information discussed today, all the information discussed previously, has shown the fascist, illegitimate government of Ethiopia, and supposed to be ensuring the safety of the citizens of Tigray, are culpable. They're killing with intentional starvation. The link posted in the comments here, please click yourself and utilize on Twitter. If you don't use Twitter, or if you have done so already yourself, share this with Tagaru youth. Tagaru, all over the world should play their part in speaking for their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their brothers, their entire family, the entire people of Tigray, the entire population has suffered. 293 days. That's where we are now. There is no end right now. It's not finished. They are being starved. Please share this with non-Tagaru youth as well. Again, those who can empathize and sympathize with people who are being intentionally targeted but have nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with war, other than they live in a certain region and they speak a certain language, they look a certain way, they are being targeted. They need you to help them. I thank you for watching us today. This information is important during a time, again, where naturally most people will celebrate, as this is a holiday for most people in Tigray. But the starvation, the suffering has not ended. Please be a voice for the voiceless. I thank you for sharing this episode so people can continue to be informed. I thank you for sharing the Twitter templates and clicking and utilizing them, as the people of Tigray need you to continue to speak all over the world for them. And again, I thank you for tuning in and allowing all people to know that you are not in support of genocide. You are not in support of rape. You are not in support of any of the fascist regime of Abiy Ahmed and his so-called allies in Eritrea or in other parts of the country itself. Until we meet again, I'm your host, Allah Wine. Again, this is our English program. Please share, please post, as this information can save one person by getting them food a day earlier by applying pressure on this fascist regime. Thank you.
حزب تግራይ خان ورق تفتنا إنا لو مين السعر صراحين السعر لو مين نبركخ صراحين نبركخ هذا وسرعتس أي جزء أنا نحرج هذا وسرعت كانت تفق أي حد نسلمت نسوينا إن بعد زي ما قمنا حلو لو 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 نالو نقعد عيننا أنا معبد كم يقرنا هذا وسرعت حجين مركخ لو مين نبركخ صراحين نبركخ